Yeah, available yung ulit. Nicole, tayo maglaro muna.
Wow, one person over there. That's okay. Two people. Very good. We'll explain how it works. We are going to play 4 cash games of bingo. Game 1, Game 2, Game 3. Game number 3, we're going to give everybody extra free card to play for game number 3 because that is the big cash game, biggest game next to jackpot. The jackpot game is game number 4. Cover one of your cards completely and entirely in 50 numbers or less, and you walk away there. And that's your first package. Once again, 3 cards for every game, all 4 games, 5 raffle tickets. That goes out for $39. We've also got a double pack, which gets you double the cards just for $10 more. Gets you 6 cards for game 1, game 2, game 3, and game 4. And also, if you have kids with you, you can get a free kids pack with that bingo package. And it gets you 10 raffle tickets for the cruise for 2, so that doubles your chances, all right? That just goes out for $10 more for 4 extra goodies, okay? That's good. $20 additional if you want. Very, very shortly.
You right there in the sunglasses. And we're back. Our next game is Come Forward. Give me an example of a time.
Oo. Ay, hindi pa. Yan yung ano, yung mga captain na natin sa loob. Ayun o, yung pagagawa ng bat ko. Yan, huli o. Yan, hinahanap mo yan. Pagagawa ng bat mo. Ayun o, buo na ng konti o. Yeah. Port ng Florida. Ayun. Dito na, Stabda.
Ayun, aba, hindi ano, may nasa lupa na. Hindi. Hindi. Ano yung natural lang na yung makaramdam. Pag nalaki kayo nasa kwarto, yun yung makaramdam yung kaunti pag nasa banyo. Aba, dalawang araw. Pag yun, ganun din. Dalawang araw. Webes, Biyernes, lakot na rin yun. Mahal pa. Oo, ay wala talaga, wala. Galing ng barko.
Yan na. Labas na kami. Ang aming girlfriend.
Have a tour on your own. Right.
Kumain ka.
favorite. Anyway, everybody has got a pink sticker on. That means you're super duper special, and you've purchased the up close tour. Do you see this great big building over there? That's the vehicle assembly building. It's one of the largest buildings in the world. It is, in fact, the largest single-story building in the world. They give you during your up close tour the exact dimensions of the building. But just to give you an idea how big it is, on the left upper corner is the largest American flag ever painted on any surface. And one of the stars, and from here you can't even make the flag out, is 6 feet in from tip to tip. There's nothing there in comparison next to it. That's why you can't really see how big it is. Anyway, it's standing right in the middle of Kennedy Space Center on Merritt Island, and that's where we're heading to. Should take about 25 minutes to get over there. The body of water here on the right-hand side is the Banana River. It's called the Banana River because if you were to fly above it, it looks just like the shape of a banana. Also, apparently, I haven't seen any myself, apparently there are lots of banana trees on its shores. See the locks here? The locks were necessary. They built them in the 60s, and they were necessary to get the man-made. They were made when they dredged the canal.
On the right, somewhere on the right, there's dolphins.
Yeah, there are lots of dolphins in the Banana River. Anyway, Cocoa Beach, 2 south from the options. Not today.
See those little drips, the little water thing? Keep an eye, there might be one there. See these little cotton.
Sometimes they're hard to spot. Up to a shuttle launch pad. Right after the shuttle, the Challenger went down. They had donations, again no tax money, donations and life in space. There's a shuttle that you can walk through right behind the booster rockets. The booster rockets are the white ones. You get those back and they can be reused. The orange is the external fuel tank, and that burns up as it re-unmanned rockets are being launched. In the rocket garden over there, you see on the left-hand side a shiny Atlas silver rocket, and behind it, and you'll see it in just a second, it'll appear on the left-hand side of the Atlas rocket. See the one with the white stripes and the black stripes? That's a Redstone Mercury rocket, and it's the same type of rocket that Alan Shepard on May 5th, 1990. Yeah. So you definitely want to, today's Monday, you definitely want to do the shuttle launch experience as soon as you come back. The others, the regular people, but they have to get up on and off the guided.
Transformer.
Discover KSE tour, and we will be out over here. That is the shuttle launch experience, and absolutely marvelous simulator of liftoff with the shuttle. Astronauts are already scheduling time. Hey folks, we've gone 300 miles. Let's do a 500,000 mile trip. Next building coming up is our headquarters, 90% privatized, with contractors doing every operations and checkout, where we have living accommodations for the astronauts during the time they spend here. Lots of office space here for lunar landers and the like. Or operations and check end of its current use. This is where various pieces of the space station have been ready to go up. They have been placed inside a transfer canister and brought out at the launch pad itself. 3 teams practice astronauts to and from the launch pad, since the bottom actually is in a position where we can bring ocean-going barges up this banana river, actually a tidal estuary. If you think it's confusing that the National Aeronautical Global Positioning Satellite for the military. Those are manatees. They are not just lumps. They do have a face that only another manatee can love. There's quite a few of them there. And those were pretty ladies. They'd been on the boat way. Buildings on the left side with the big tubes are the... You'll appreciate that as well. Please speak at a low level. Now you see that great big sliding door on this end of the building. Tour stop is going to be right back here, but we are going out to those launch pads before we do that. Now this low white building with the narrow windows, this is the Launch Control Center. This is where the countdown and liftoff from Apollo 8 through STS-135 from the Apollo program and recycled for this use. On this side, we have to try to improve it. We will be stopping in a mile. We will be off the buses a mile from fuel to run the 3-engine day. And you can see an empty mobile launch platform gives a good idea of how the crawl. Got some turtles on that pipe there. Yeah. That's the full international fleet of crawler transporters. We own the only 2. They were built for us up in Marion, Ohio by the Marion Power Shuttle Company. We got such a deal, I guess, that we bought the second one. We only...
For the duration of our presentation, please note
rocket ships and took to the stars, and I wanted to be like them. They had courage, imagination, and no problem ever stood in their way for long. You know, in the end, when we actually did send men into space, it turned out that those were exactly the qualities it took. I'm John Hudson. This is Pad 39 of the Kennedy Space Center. I was a launch controller here when from this very spot, man took off to fly to the moon. It was a journey that began 12 years before that rocket ever left the ground. And it started on the other side of the world. Back then, we were one of two superpowers that always seemed to be on the edge of a terrible war. In 1957, the Soviet Union launched the first ever man-made satellite into Earth orbit. They called it Sputnik, which means traveling companion. And in a world where peace hung in a delicate balance, it seemed to create a dangerous advantage. Every ham radio operator in America could hear it beeping. People were afraid. Were the Soviets looking down on us? Watching us? If they could make a satellite pass over our cities, couldn't satellite? Soviet cosmonaut Yuri Gagarin became the first man into space, circling the world in just 89 minutes. We had our own astronauts, and they were eager and ready to take the big ride. But our manned space program couldn't seem to get off the ground. We stuck with it, and on May 5th, 1961, things finally started going right. Astronaut Alan Shepard took his ship Freedom 7 6.5 miles into space. America had its first space hero. Just a few days later, our space program received a new challenge. But this one did not come from the Soviet Union. It came from our young president. In one inspiring moment.
And they may well ask, why climb the highest mountain? Why 35 years ago, fly the Atlantic? Why does Rice play Texas? We choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon.
We were going to the moon. We would have to design a rocket the size of a 36-story office building, put it together with the precision of a microscope, and accelerate it to the reality. It would be the longest, most hazardous voyage that any man had dared to attempt. But step by step, mission by mission, we orbited the Earth, perfecting the skills and technologies we would need on this incredible journey. Our astronauts practiced maneuvering, docking, and the 1,000 other tasks that would comprise the moon mission. We created new alloys, lighter and stronger than anything seen before. We designed communication systems that would be reliable over the vast distances. And behind it all, we tried to perfect the rocket that would be powerful enough to punch out of Earth orbit and take us to the moon. One day, however, the dream of flying to the moon almost slipped away. It was January 27th, 1967. Astronauts Virgil Gus Grissom, Edward White, and Roger Chaffee were on board Apollo 1 for a plugs-out test, a full-scale dress rehearsal for the actual launch. Suddenly it happened. There was a fire in the capsule. 3 men whose lives had been in our hands were lost.
Surely the opening vistas of space promise high costs and hardships, as well as high reward. But this country of the United States was not built by those who waited and rested and wished to look behind them.
After Apollo 1, some thought we'd failed, and that the moon was out of our reach. But we owed it to those men to learn from their sacrifice and to carry on. We started taking the Apollo vehicle apart, piece by piece. Was the design flawed? Had safety been compromised? Tough questions. And we spent 1.5 years redesigning the spacecraft so that no astronaut's life would ever be at risk because we overlooked something, or because we could have done something better. A moon rocket is 91% high explosive, and it goes into the most unforgiving, hazardous environment there is. We could never make it risk-free, and the men who flew them knew that. We didn't send men into space again until Apollo 7 orbited the Earth testing some of the new designs. When everything worked perfectly, the decision was made. The next mission would travel to the moon. It was mankind's destiny to leave the shores of our planet behind and strike out across the vast ocean of space. In the great span of our history, now was the time that we could. Now was the time that we was on the pad agreed. It was as though the rocket was alive, breathing, straining at the leash. Earlier in the morning, astronauts Frank Borman, Jim Lovell, and Bill Anders had made their final preparations before taking that long ride out to the waiting spacecraft. The minimum safe distance from a Saturn V at liftoff was 3 miles. The reason was simple. When fully fueled, the rocket contained the explosive power of an atomic bomb. As the clock counted down, the astronauts and all of us in launch control went through the pre-flight checks. Our hands on the controls of the most powerful, most complex machine ever built. It had over 2 million separate systems. And to bring these men back alive, everything had to work perfectly. Each individual system had been tested, but what we didn't know was how they would perform when all 2 million began to work together. That moment would come when the countdown clock reached 0. If a maneuvering thruster failed, if communications broke down, if navigation was off by 1 degree, if any piece of the miles of wiring, circuits, relays, or valves was defective, Frank Borman, Jim Lovell, and Bill Anders would pay with their lives. As they sat waiting for launch on a chill December morning, these 3 astronauts were back to what they had always been, test pilots. You are now in the final minutes before the launch of Apollo 8, right here where it actually happened. Mankind is about to leave his planet behind and journey to another. It is one of those rare moments when history is not being made, destiny is being embraced.
This is launch control, T-minus 3 minutes and counting. We've completed our communications checks with the Apollo 8 astronauts in the cabin, and the communications are go. During this period, once we do get the firing command, the various tanks within the 3 stages of the Saturn V launch vehicle begin to pressurize. We have firing command. The firing command is in. We're now on the automatic sequence. T-minus 2 minutes, 20 seconds. Our status board indicates that all aspects are ready. Instrument unit is ready. Spacecraft ready. Final check of the emergency detection system. That ready lighthouse set up. First stage preparations are completed.
All systems are okay. Keep going. We're on. Ready to go to Conway. Stand by, water. Okay, you're on.
All systems go. T-minus 45 seconds and counting. First stage liquid oxygen tank has been pressurized, and the pressure is still building up. Coming up on 90 seconds. Mark, T-minus 90 seconds and counting. The Apollo 8 crew standing by, spacecraft commander Frank Borman, Jim Lovell, Bill Anders. We now report that the liquid hydrogen tank on the third stage is pressurized. 1 minute 15 seconds. All third stage propellants pressurized at this time as we come up on the 60-second mark on the flight to the moon. 60 seconds and counting. The vehicle now is completely pressurized. We'll be coming up on power transfer shortly. We have the power transfer. We're now on the flight batteries within the launch vehicle. Final reports from Frank Borman at this time. Final look at the switch list aboard the spacecraft. 20 seconds, all aspects. We are still low at this time. 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10. Engines are on.
Apollo 8 successfully orbited the moon, and the astronauts returned safely to the Earth. I know. I'm Jim Lovell, and I was one of the crew of this spacecraft, Apollo 8. We were the first men to see the surface of the moon from just a few miles away. But it was the hundreds of thousands of men and women who worked in that team, and the millions of people who supported the mission that really made it possible. That way, I guess, we all went to the moon. Now, on the other side of those doors,